All right, so I want to talk about what we're going to be talking about first, and then I'm going to walk you through, and you can actually create the Google site as I am doing it. So we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? So the first thing, this is my company, EdTech Hall. I created it during COVID because I wanted to help teachers. All right, and so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over some features of Google Sites and all the different possibilities that you could use these websites for, and then you get to create your own site here. Now, if you started your site and you're stuck, that's perfect. If you haven't started a site at all, that's also perfect. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my Google Sites. Okay. So this was the Google site that I had posted on all of my Facebook groups. I'll just load it up in a second. Now, the beauty of Google Sites is since it's in the Google Suite, all of the things that you have in your Google Drive could be linked to your Google site. So you could create a text box, which is the same as if you were in Google Slides. Import an image. You can import documents directly from your drive, and you can also embed links. So embed just basically means to put the link in so that the website is able to be seen on your website. You don't want just a link just hanging out there. Now, of course, I did create these pictures here and then put them in each one of these pages. And I'm just going to click through the pages. This is the home. Communication, I named it that because it was basically all about how to contact me as a teacher. The expectations, what students should expect and what parents should expect. Classroom policies, and I have two main policies that I put up there, but if there are other ones like Chromebook policies, you can also link that here. And then I put classwork and homework. So depending on whether you are remote or you are in person, this will be your main page where your students will be accessing every day. All right, so I'm going to go back to the home page. All right, so I talked a little bit about all the different features, and there's also different types of headers. So the first one here, this is a large banner so that you could see most of the picture. You could also make it a cover, which makes it just a little bit larger. You can do just the banner, which makes it a little bit smaller, and you could also do title only. I like the large banner because it's large enough to see on any mobile device. So that's what I prefer. And then you can start typing. You can import Bitmojis. You can type in their text box, and you can also embed a link. So what I did here was I put a picture, a Bitmoji, and then I attached the 5th grade supply list for there. Okay. I also created some different pages here. Okay. So each page has a different picture and it has a different feature. Now this is an embedded link. So if you click on this on the live site, it will take you directly to Class Dojo, which is one of the great features I like about Google Sites. You can also create a footer here, which is a great feature. Okay. Expectations. Now what I did here was I put the Google slide presentation, and this is linked, so this is embedded as well. When you click on this on the live site, it goes directly to that PowerPoint. And I also put in my back to school night presentation, which I can put the link for Teachers Pay Teachers on there at the end. Okay, so two different types of features. Now here, I took the actual document and imported it through Google Drive. Now you can also embed it as a link. It doesn't have to look like this. I did it like this because I wanted to show all the different types of ways that you could put something on your site. All right, and you'll notice that there are different layouts as well. Okay, and then this is the last page, and I have not updated this as of yet because I'm still working on all of my lessons, which I will have another webinar about that in August. So those are all the different types of features. And like I said, the beauty of this is that everything is tied together with Google. Now, the one thing that's different about Google Sites as opposed to Google Slides and Google Docs and Google Sheets is that I can't give you a copy of this. There's just no capability for that. You can have people, other teachers be editors, but once you publish your link, that's the link. Okay, so what you can do while you're looking at my site is you could make this page smaller, have another page of yours, and you could be working on it while we are doing this. Right, so what you could do is you put the plus here and add your page, and then you make this two separate, and then you could do your site here while I'm on mine. So if you want, you can go ahead and do that right now while I start setting this up. And I want to go back to the beginning so that we can do this together. All right. So just going to give you a moment for that. And then you'll notice I'm in my Google Drive. So if you could get to your Google Drive with your school account on your page so that you can watch me and work at the same time. All right, so I'm going to move now to creating your own website. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. In your Google Drive, you're going to click on the plus sign for new, and you're going to go to more. Now, when you go to more, you're going to see Google Forms, Google Drawings, but you want to click on Google Sites. All right. Now, when you click on it and you get to Google Sites, it's just a plain site, okay? Nothing has been published yet, and I'm going to walk you through what all of these mean. So this is undo your last action. This is redo your last action. There's also a preview button so you could see what your Google site is going to look like on your student's laptop, your student's iPad, your student's phone. This is where you publish the link. That's where you're making your site live, okay? Now, because all of us are educators and we're under our Educator G Suite, this is not searchable through Google. So only people that you give your link to will have this website. All right, so what I usually do is I copy that link when it's published and I email it all out to my parents, or I push it out on Class Dojo, and then I also push it out on Google Classroom so that everybody that needs the site gets it, right? And of course, that's the beauty of it because you're not selling anything. You don't need, random people having your site. It's just the people that are in need of it. Now you could share with others, right? So if you have a 5th grade team, you can share it, or whatever grade. I'm 5th grade, just FYI. So if I say 5th grade, it's just because of my frame of reference. So if you have a team, you have a resource special ed teacher that you coordinate with, you could have that with them, or you could leave it as it is. And this, of course, is your settings. And in here, you can report a problem. You can go to your version history. You can actually duplicate your site, make an extra copy. Okay. And I'm going to go through each one of these. Now, you can insert a text box, images, embed, like we talked about before, or something from your drive. You can also create a layout. Okay. So kind of like Google Slides. Now, these are all extra features that you could include as well. Okay. You could create collapsible text, a table of contents, an image carousel. So maybe if you're doing a special project, you can create a button where you can take them to another page or take them to another place. There is a divider, which I did use in mine. There's a placeholder. You could embed a YouTube link, a calendar. So let's say that a book report is due and you want to put the due date on there, you can do that. You can embed a map, docs, slides, sheets, forms, and of course, charts. So all the fabulous features of Google, you have access to through your website. Now, here's where you have different pages. Now, personally, I recommend no more than the amount that I had here. Because what happens is if there's too many pages, the parents and the kids get a little confused. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would have no more than 5 on your back to school or your website. And I'll talk about the differences in a moment. And then here's your themes. So in the old Google sites, they did not have themes. You had to kind of work through that on your own, but now they have themes that you could use. Okay, so this is the simple one. This is Aristotle. Diplomat, which I kind of like. Vision, which is kind of cool. Level and impression. Now, for the purposes of today, I'm going to choose vision. Now, all that means is that the colors and the fonts have already been decided for me. That's it. Okay. All right. Now, you want to go up here and name your site. So for the purposes of today, we're going to do back to school. And remember, the purpose of the back to school website is so that parents and students have all the information that you would normally hand out the first week of school, and they have access to all that information online. Now you'll notice that when you change the site, it changes here as well, but it doesn't change here. So I like to name this the home page. And it will be named the home page when you take a look at your pages anyway. Okay. Now let's say you want to change this picture. Let's say you have a Bitmoji scene that you want to change it to. That's where you would change your theme. You can upload it, or you can select an image that Google already has. Well, I like this. This is kind of cool. All right. Now what Google does is it adjusts it for readability, meaning how can I see this better? Okay, now you can also, like I said, change it to make it a little bit larger or make it more of a cover. That is completely up to you. All right, so I want everybody to kind of do that. I'm just going to give you a minute or so to work on that first piece, and then we're going to go to what we can add. All right. You can also make it back to school here. Again, that's completely your choice. This is your website. I'm just giving you ideas. All right. The next thing I like to do is add the footer. Now, the footer that I like to use, if I go back to my original back to school, is created by, and your first and your last name, and just a contact piece of information. So to contact directly, email at, and that's my school email, or via class Dojo. Or if you have another method or messaging service, I know there's the Remind messaging service. I know there's Class Tag messaging service. So any one of those you can by all means put there. But it's important because this kind of makes the website a little bit more elevated and more professional. All right, and then I'm going to come back up here. Now you'll notice that this space here is very small, but you can expand that, and we're going to get to that in a moment. So on my original back to school, and as we all know, when we do back to school with the students, the first week is the getting to know you, so the bio, right? So what I want you to think about is how you want to present your bio, right? Something simple, you can copy and paste it from wherever you had it before and piece it together inside here. But you want to have some kind of greeting. I'm so glad to meet you. Welcome to my class, something like that. So I'm going to take this from my previous website, and I'm going to put this in here. But I'm going to create, let's do it this way. All right, so you'll notice that this heading has already been decided for me, the font and the color, which is fine. And I'm so glad to meet you. Welcome to my class. I'm your ELA teacher. I teach reading, writing, and grammar. And I let them know, parents and students, what tabs that they're going to see, like what pages. Now this is where you can upload an image, or if you want to record a YouTube video, or if you have a YouTube video that you like to show the first week of school, you can always put that in here. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to select image. And I'm going to put this one just for the purposes of this. I'm just going to show you how that works. So now that picture is perfectly embedded on the side. That's my Alice in Wonderland picture. Okay, now you can change tabs to pages if that makes more sense. Right. And you'll notice I chose this layout. Okay, you can also move. So if you wanted to move this, like let's say you want the writing here and the picture here, you can move these around. The only thing with the pictures sometimes is it's really one size. It's not gonna, whatever size your picture was, you don't want to kind of mess that up. Okay. Now for the bio, it's just a piece of text. So you can insert a text box and copy and paste your bio from wherever you previously had it. So if you had it in a Google Docs, you can just copy and paste it there. And you can see my example is simple. Just talks about where I grew up, my educational experience. And this basically is something that I talk to both my students and the parents about. So everybody kind of knows who I am. And really, that's all you need for the first page. I included the supply list for my original one, but you don't have to do that. If you don't have a supply list or your supply list isn't ready, I thought that the supply list would go perfect on the home page. That way it's right there. But again, you don't have to do that. So just give you a minute to kind of work on your home page. And then we're going to start adding some pages. And the beauty of this is that you can play around with this until you publish it, right? You could preview it. So you're like, oh, I don't know what it's going to look like. This is what it'll look like on a desktop. This is what it's going to look like on a tablet. And this is what it's going to look like on a phone. So you can see what it looks like. And until you click this blue publish button, this will stay gray. So you cannot publish an unpublished site, obviously. Now, if you wanted to embed this from a Google Doc, you don't want to copy and paste it, you could also do that, right? So you could do something like this, go to Insert, go to your Drive, and you could find, I'm just going to pick a random document because I want to show you how that works. So now you've embedded a document, which will be viewable on your website. Can make it larger, can make it smaller. Okay, I'm just going to delete that because I like the way the text looks better. It looks clean, in my opinion. And that's one thing that parents will appreciate is clean, organized, and easy to read. All right, so I want to move on to adding pages. So the first page I want to add is communication. How are you going to communicate with your parents? Okay, that is essential. Then expectations. Classroom policies. Oops. And classwork and homework. Now, you can change this. If you don't want to say classwork and homework, You could say something like work or daily or weekly assignments or something like that. So you don't have to use specifically what I'm saying, but you want a place on the site where they could access their assignments. So I put it as classwork/homework because in New Jersey, we're still working on our hybrid models and we're not really sure what that's going to look like. So classwork and homework, but you could put weekly assignments, and then that's where you can upload your slideshow with all of your assignments. Okay. Now you'll notice that since I chose the first picture, all of the other pages have the same picture. Now, if you're like me and you're creative, you want a different picture. So that's perfectly fine. You will go to that page and you would change the image. And I'm going to go in here and look at some other images. And this is what? This is expectation. So let's do something like this. Oh, sorry, classwork and homework. Right? You can move this, make it a little bit more readable. Or you can make it like that. Okay. Now, let's say you want to move these pages. You don't like the way that they're organized. So what you would do is you would click on it and you can move it up. Oops, so that it's in the order that you like. I like classwork and homework last. Right. So that's the way I prefer it to be set up. Now, if you'll notice on my previous website, I didn't have a title on these. I just had pictures or Bitmoji scenes that kind of described what was happening. You can do that as well. So for communication, you could have a Bitmoji scene where you have people working on computers or talking on the phone, whatever you want to do. And then you could just delete this. You don't need to have this here. You could delete that. Okay. And I'll show you. It deletes. Okay. Now, if you want to undo it, you can just do that. You can also change this to a different type of font. You could make it italicized if you'd like. Right. You could take the bold off if you want. So there's a bunch of different things. You could play around with it. The thing that I will warn you about is that once you start, it's kind of hard to stop. You end up, oh, I could add this, I could add this, I could do this, and it gets kind of crazy. But it's also kind of fun. All right. Now, whatever your method of communication is, you want to make that clear in this page. Now, I prefer the Class Dojo method, which is why I have a Class Dojo header. And I talked about what the Class Dojo system is all about. It is, for those of you that don't know, it's a behavior system that's web-based. It means you're able to access your child's behavior and academic performance online from any device. Each student has an avatar with positive, neutral, or negative points based on the behavior the student displays during the day. I give prizes out each month for total points. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that remotely as of yet. And then this is the embedded link. So I want to show you how to embed the link. So the first thing I want to do, because you always want to describe what you're talking about. Like I said, this isn't a website where you are selling something, right? This is This is for your class. So you want to be clear. All right, now it says click the monster picture below. So now we want to embed. So here we are right here. And you want to embed the URL, which is the web address, www.classdojo, I think it's .com. And you'll notice that it comes up with a preview of what it's going to look like on your site. And that's fine. It's usually the home page. All right. Last year when we did remote learning, I had Get Epic, which is an online reading service. Insert. Now you can keep it to the left. You can drag it and make it huge. Okay. You can also move it to the center like so. And it kind of gives you those little lines of guidance to see where the center is. And now you don't have to worry about, is the link going to work? It automatically works because you embedded the link, which means it's placed in the site and you're not just putting a www hyperlink. This is an embedded link, which I like better. It's a much cleaner look. Okay, so that's how you embed a link. So I'll give you a minute to find a link that you would like to embed. Now you don't have to do Class Dojo. You could go to one of your other pages and embed. I'd like you to embed at least one link on one of your pages. Okay, because then we're going to talk about how to do these Google Slides next. Okay. So expectations is really about, I think, back to school night, which was what my focus of my original website was about. And I, of course, created a Bitmoji scene, which says, welcome to Ms. Temprano's class. Don't forget to log into your school email and the website. And I kind of talked briefly about what distance learning was, and we don't know what's happening. So let's assume that we're virtual and we're going to have a virtual piece, right? Now you'll notice here that this is a slideshow and it goes through the expectations. And I want to show you what that looks like. Hang on one second. I want to show you what that looks like live first. Okay, so here we are on the live published website. Okay, so this is what everybody's going to see. When you click on it, you will notice, and you can also do these arrows, you can also go down to the slides. When you click on it, it's like you're clicking on it in front of your class or a regular slideshow. Okay? Class Dojo points will be awarded to students completing their work and reading. I will update them throughout the week. So this is just a slideshow. And this one I actually didn't create. One of the wonderful teachers on the Bitmoji craze for teachers Facebook did. I just created it with my own Bitmoji there. You're working home, but you still have to do your best. Paying attention, this is what paying attention looks like. And you know, I think about this because we do this in the beginning of the year anyway, but we had to relearn everything. Acting respectfully, working responsibly, what that looks like, how do we stay safe? And of course, this piece, you know, we missed all of our students. This talks about the daily schedule of what the students needed to do each day. All right, they need to check their Gmails, their Class Dojo, and Google Classroom for updates. Common courtesies, this is when we're in our virtual meetings. Use a chat box or raise your hand. If you need to use the bathroom, do it before or after. In case of emergency, turn off your camera and excuse yourself. You may have a drink and a snack while working. Do not have full meals in your area. It's going to be distracting. I remember one of my students literally had like this huge bagel and stuffed the whole thing in his mouth, and we were all watching him chew. That's inappropriate. So anyway, that's a sidebar. And then I had a Google form attached here that if you click on this, it will take you directly to it. And basically it was kind of like a quiz of the expectations. Okay. So that's what that looks like. And then here's the back to school night presentation that I would give to the parents. Right, everything you need so your child can earn an A in Ms. T's class, goals, and of course, I don't know the schedule yet. Here are academic expectations. And of course, I'm the reading and the writing teacher. I also teach social studies and science. What grades are going to look like. Homework. What happens if we're remote. Okay. Family life, field trips, discipline. What can I do to help my child at home? Right. And a final reminder, not everyone learns in the same way, depending on your child's individual needs. And this is basically for the students that are struggling. And I always offer extra help. I did it last year remotely, obviously, but you know, make that available so that they know. And then I also put the link to my website here. So that's what it looks like on the live site. And it's really great because parents like to know what's going on. Now I have both of those PowerPoints, I believe on my Teachers Pay Teachers site. And if you contact me, I can give you the link for those. But what I wanted you to do for that is we all have something that we used to use that we would maybe pass out a brochure. You can link those directly here, or you can add, and there's two ways you can do it. You can go through the Google Drive, or you can slide down here to slides, and it will search your library for slideshows that you have created. Okay, so take a look. The distance one that we were, the reminders, that's directly there. I can just click it and insert. And I can make it as wide as I want. It doesn't matter because that's what they're going to see. Okay, and then I'll do another one. And that is the back to school night one, which I know a lot of you were requesting, so I'm probably going to put that out there. So now those are automatically updated on your page. Okay, and you'll see what it looks like on my live page again. You can actually play it if you wanted. Okay, on the live page. So if the parents wanted to play the PowerPoint, they can do that. They can skip and go to a different slide. So once it's there, they will have access to it. So the last thing that I want to go over is if you're going to embed a particular slideshow, you want to make sure that it has a public link. So to do that, you click on share and you make the link, anyone with the link can have it, okay? Anyone with the link. But notice it says a viewer. So nobody can access or edit that particular slideshow without accessing it, okay? Or asking permission. Now, if you wanted to force copy it, so that's what I would probably do to send it to you guys, is you would copy that link. And then when I paste it, I'm going to change edit sharing to copy. When I do that, automatically you're going to get this message when you click on it, which is, would you like to make a copy of 5th grade back to school night PowerPoint 2020? Okay, and then that will copy directly into your Google Drive. Okay. So you want to make sure you do that. So you want to make sure that whatever Google Slide shows you have that live link so that parents can view it without having to ask you for permission. Okay? Because you don't want to have all those emails of like, I need permission, I need permission. It gets kind of crazy. Right? And we all could use less crazy. So I'm going to give you a minute to kind of play with your website now. And I want you to embed a link. I want you to embed a slideshow or a doc, something, all the skills that we just went over. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. And then I'm going to talk about next steps because tomorrow I have another one. And we'll talk about finalizing your website and publishing it. And then we'll talk about how you can use this in other ways, so other types of websites. So just give you a few minutes to kind of play around a little bit. And by all means, you can play around once you get the recording of this video, which I'm going to post later today. All right. While you are kind of playing around a little bit, just wanted to talk about what's next. So tomorrow I'm going to have a similar absolutely free webinar. And I'm going to go over different websites that you can create, not just back to school night, but different ways that you can use websites to teach different things. All right. And then after that, so I created something called the educational workflow. It's a learning journey that students, teachers, and parents will enjoy. So it's a simple way to teach virtually where you do not have to create double work. Simple way to engage students at home regardless of grade level or capability. So this could be special ed, this could be phys ed, this could be anything. And the basic concept is that you would have 1 to 2 concepts per week, and it would be a self-paced assignment lesson. All right. Now, my webinars for Google Sites are absolutely free. The one for my educational workflow, that is only $20 for a 2-hour training, 1 hour per day, and that will be coming in August. And I'll set up probably 3 of those So if you miss one, you'll be able to access the second one. And that's going to alleviate a lot of stress for a lot of teachers. So feel free to spread the word about that. And if you know somebody that would like to come on this webinar tomorrow for more Google Sites, please feel free to share the link. All right, I'm going to go back to the website just to show you all that we did today. So today we created a website for back to school. We created pages. We learned how to embed Google pieces like Google Slideshows. We learned how to embed a website. And we worked on themes. We chose a different theme and how to add text boxes, how to change our pictures up here for our websites, and how to preview what our website would look like on a phone, on a tablet, and on the computer. All right, I hope you had fun. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and I'm going to put my email actually inside here. Just put it up here. It is edtech.hall@gmail.com. Please feel free to put in some questions, or if you're stuck with anything, have fun, play around with your website, and I can't wait to see what you have created tomorrow. Thank you. Bye. Oh, you're most welcome. You are most welcome.